Levitz. Levitz was a stock that we made some money in back in those years. That was a long time ago, but we didn't handle it too well. And at that time, it just kept going up and up and up and up and up. And it looked like you didn't get too many new bases there, but you did get all these pullbacks to 10-week lines and a lot of other things. But in those days, I think we were looking for bases and not thinking about all these other buy points. So once that stock took off and started moving up, it just kept going up and up and up. There were a few bases in there, but they were unique. They were the first warehouse seller in the furniture business. And you'd go in and they'd have furniture laid out just like in your living room or the bedrooms or what all. It was sort of a warehouse concept that they were using, and it was very popular for a while. And then, of course, when it didn't do so well, it rolled over and came back down quite a bit. I think it's always better to get in at the breakout of the first base because you're going to get a bigger cushion and you're going to get started right. If your first buy is one bounced off of a line, you don't know, it may go up a week or two and then build another base. It's a little bit trickier. I think it's always best to get started at the beginning. If you get started at the beginning, you're going to have many chances to add to it. And see, when you add to it, you don't want to add more money at a higher price than you put in at a lower price, so you're adding less, but you hope you'll get a second buy, a third buy, a fourth buy, a fifth buy. There are some stocks, in fact, I plotted one time. I don't remember what it was now, but I think I bought something maybe 30 or 40 different times, but it was over a period of 3 years. And it just kept building bases and doing things. But that's very rare, but sometimes you'll have it happen. Now, you'll notice there's one thing we could mention on the Levitz. There's a line drawn that's an upper channel line, and it shows the stock eventually goes through that upper channel line in the December 71 quarter, or maybe it was March of 72 that it does that. This is a little tricky. It all depends on where do you make the 3 plot points on that trend line. And the key is you're trying to get the true rate of increase that's going on in that stock over a period of time. And I think you've got to have at least 18 weeks in there of time. You can't draw shorter term things, say, for 8 or 9 weeks. You've got to get the true trend in there. And there'll be 3 plot points, and normally there should be a certain amount of time between the first and second one and the second and the third one. So it all depends on where you pick intelligently those 3 plot points, where it does truly represent the trend line that stock's been functioning on for many, many months. And, of course, in this Levitz example, you see it charges through it in the March 72 quarter, and there's your time you sell it because it's violating the basic trend that it's been in. And if it just touches it and backs away, it isn't necessarily a sell, but when it goes through it, it is. It's getting out of line. I think you need to have a set of buying rules and examples of buying rules. I'll buy them coming out of a cup or a double bottom or this or that. You have all these examples, but you have some selling examples. I'll sell when it has a climax top, 2-3 weeks in a row, running up very rapidly, faster than before, and maybe one day has an exhaustion gap. And there's certain principles. That would be one thing. And then this channel line would be another type of, and then a fourth stage base would be another. And so you have a list of these things. What are the selling situations and what are the buying situations? And you must have both. And some people, they spend all their time, oh, am I going to buy this stock or that stock? And they doodle around with that and they read reports and do all kinds of things. So they buy something. They've got a system of how they buy, but what's their set of sell rules? You have to have both buy and sell rules. And if you don't have sell rules, you're not going to handle it very well. You're going to botch it up because you're just going by how you feel. And you can get hurt. And there's not just one rule for buying. There are several, and there are several different rules for selling. And so if you know one rule, that's not going to help you. What if your stock tops and it didn't tick off that rule? So you got to know 3, 4, 5, 6 different situations that would say, if it does this, I'm going to sell. And that's based on history of past stocks. And if you haven't studied any past history of past stocks, well, then you don't know what you're doing because there isn't really that much new in the market. It's supply and demand, and that's being executed all the time. And there are several different ways you can see that this stock is now coming under distribution. And you need to have several rules like that. So if you don't have several rules, you'll get caught with not having one that you should have had that you didn't even understand.